Lesson 7 of You Are a Mighty Warrior. I hope you're enjoying these lessons. I have learned so much, and I have enjoyed teaching this class so much. It has just revolutionized my life. I'm not the same as a result of not only studying up on this, but then teaching the class. And I know that there's other women at Real Life Church who will also testify to how life-changing this study has been. By the way, you can read some of their testimonies on the blog, which is www.youareamightywarrior.blogspot.com. So check it out. I'm going to be posting testimonials from this class, and if you have something that you would like to comment on, please leave a comment or email me if you have something you'd like to contribute, because I'm going to be keeping the blog up for a long time. And I'm going to be teaching the course again in January of 2015 at Real Life Church in Sacramento. So if you're able to join us, it'll be a morning class. It'll be starting at 9:30 over at the Arena campus. So I hope to see you there. So tonight, our theme is that a mighty warrior does not stand alone in the battle. Is any of this new to you? It has been new to me, as I said, and I'm finding that I am catching myself when I speak according to my old personality, the negative flaws associated with my personality, rather than my heavenly persona. I am finding there's a catch in my spirit when someone is speaking to me according to their personality rather than their persona. And one really cool example of this, Pastor Karen and I went to a women's conference in San Jose. We went to a workshop on worship, and the beautiful young woman who was going to be speaking on and teaching on worship was singing this lovely song and playing her guitar, and she was saying, "Lord, reveal yourself to us. Reveal yourself to us. Lord, reveal yourself to us." And I found myself wanting to stand up and say, "Just stop it! He's already revealed himself. Don't you get it? He has so revealed himself to you in the person of Jesus Christ. You just aren't seeing it. The problem with you, lady, is that which is within you is not hearing and receiving and acknowledging how he has so revealed himself to you." And of course I didn't do that, which is a good thing. I don't know what Pastor Karen would have done if I had broken into that, but we left just a few minutes after that, and I said, "You know what, Karen? I'm catching myself, but I'm also catching other people, because we are so living in our personalities rather than in our persona. How could we change up that concept of reveal yourself to us? How could we change it up so that we're speaking from our persona?" Any number of ways. Look at the list of 100. They are all just so incredibly full and so saturated with God's revealed presence. We are the redeemed. We are the righteousness of Christ. We are more than victorious. We are loved with an everlasting love. That is so God revealed, isn't it? So I hope that you're catching yourself and that you're getting into this and that you're seeing how this is practical for us. All right. So look at the blog too, by the way, www.youareamightywarrior.blogspot.com. I have posted some testimonials by the women in the classes, and I will continue to post more as the months go by. And I'm going to be teaching this class again at Real Life Church in Sacramento in January of 2015. And it'll be a morning class this time, so it begins at 9:30. And if you're able to join us, please do. All right, so we're in Judges chapter 7, verses 15 through 24. And as I read the scripture, and as you read along with me, I want you to pay attention to how Gideon has surrounded himself with his mighty men, that he is not going into battle alone, that he has not only his mighty men, his 300 around him, but then he calls up his brothers from Ephraim. And so there's another army that is summoned when things start to scatter. So listen to that, because that's the key for tonight's lesson, that a mighty warrior does not stand alone in battle. All right, so Judges chapter 7, verses 15 through 24. When Gideon heard the dream and its interpretation, he bowed down and worshipped. He returned to the camp of Israel and called out, "Get up! The Lord has given the Midianite camp into your hands." Dividing the 300 men into 3 companies, he placed trumpets and empty jars in the hands of all of them, with torches inside. "Watch me," he told them. "Follow my lead. When I get to the edge of the camp, do exactly as I do. When I and all who are with me blow our trumpets, then from all around the camp blow yours and shout, 'For the Lord and for Gideon.'" Gideon and the 100 men with him reached the edge of the camp at the beginning of the middle watch, just after they had changed the guard. They blew their trumpets and broke the jars that were in their hands. The 3 companies blew the trumpets and smashed the jars. Grasping the torches in their left hands and holding in their right hands the trumpets they were to blow, they shouted, "A sword for Gideon, a sword for the Lord and for Gideon." While each man held his position around the camp, all the Midianites ran, crying out as they fled. When the 300 trumpets sounded, the Lord caused the men throughout the camp to turn on each other with their swords. The army fled to Beth Shittah toward Zerirah as far as the border of Abel Maholah near Tabbath. Israelites from Naphtali, Asher, and all Manasseh were called out, and they pursued the Midianites. Gideon sent messengers throughout the hill country of Ephraim, saying, "Come down against the Midianites and seize the waters of the Jordan ahead of them as far as Beth Barah." So all the men of Ephraim were called out, and they seized the waters of the Jordan as far as Beth Barah. They also captured 2 of the Midianite leaders, Oreb and Zeb. They killed Oreb at the rock of Oreb and Zeb at the winepress of Zeb. They pursued the Midianites and brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon, who was by the Jordan. So Gideon has this tiny army of 300, and he does something truly brilliant. He divides them into 3 groups and stations them all around the rim on top of the valley, looking down into the valley. The Midianites are in the valley, in this bowl. Now there's this tiny little book called The Art of War, and it was written by a brilliant Chinese general in about 540 BC. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it's a really cool little book, and I hope you'll look at it sometime. If you're interested in military history, it's a fantastic book, and you probably already know about it. Even if you're not interested in that kind of military thing, it's a great book because it reveals human behavior in a beautiful way, in a predictable way. If you are interested in how to fight spiritual battles, this is the book for you. It's certainly a book that talks about how to battle in the flesh, but we can take these concepts and easily transfer them into spiritual principles that can help us in our spiritual battles. And one of the tactics that the Chinese general says that you must have when you're going into battle is have the upper hand position. Always make your enemy fight uphill if you can, because fighting uphill is so much more difficult than fighting in a downhill type of a position. So militarily, Gideon is in the fantastic and obviously superior positioning to be at the top of the hill and the enemies down below. Now, this is the middle of the night. This is really a good move, because what's going to happen next is going to sound so terrific and so mighty and so huge that the Midianite army, which we have already seen is vast and huge itself, they are going to be so intimidated and not know what hit them because they're sound asleep right now. So you can imagine the sound of the cracking of 300 clay pots all at once. And then suddenly there's all this light around the top of the rim. And then there's this noise of the trumpets, 300 trumpets sounding. How awesome that must have been. And then to have the entire army together saying, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." It threw them into a panic. And it says that the Midianites took off running. I would have too. This had to have been terribly scary business. And so they take off, and In the flesh, it sounded like a huge army, but in the supernatural, God put even greater fear into their hearts. He made their imaginations inflate the situation 1,000 times over, 1,000 times more horrendous than it actually was. That's so cool. Mighty warriors in the Bible rarely stood alone. David had his mighty men. Moses had Aaron and Miriam, such as they were. Jesus had the disciples, such as they were. And when the disciples were sent out, they were sent out not alone, but in twos. Even the Mormon missionaries get this one. They never go alone. They're always going out in twos. And here at Real Life Church, it became something that was so important to me that each of the pastors at our church be covered with a prayer team. Uh, it came as a result of me reading Ted Rose's book, Pastors Need Prayer. It burned like a fire within me. I could not sleep at night thinking of our pastors proceeding into their battles without having prayer covering, without having the prayer warriors lifting them up and protecting them in prayer. It became such a passion of mine that I had to implement this immediately. And I was given permission by Pastor Karen and Pastor Neva to start the prayer ministry team here at Real Life Church. And within 3 weeks, we had 13 teams formed to surround our pastors in prayer. This is the same kind of a thing that we're talking about here. Mighty warriors do not stand alone. It's foolish to go into battle by yourself. It's foolish to go into any kind of battle without prayer support, without other people lifting you up and praying hedges of protection around you. And we see this again and again in the Bible, that our mighty warriors were mighty warriors, yes, but they also had tremendous teams surrounding them and swinging the sword with them. They didn't swing the sword by themselves. They had the company of other great warring peoples around them. So that's the primary focus of the study tonight, but I have a little more to say about this, and so I'm going to stop right here and then conclude it with part B.